I lead F5's PR efforts. I report up into Rob. James is on my team, and uh, we're excited to have the conversation as we're looking for new measurement opportunities, new opportunities to use data and informing our strategy. But yeah, I run PR.
Cool.
Rob,
I
should
chime
we?
in.
Yeah, let's
Oh,
come to you
go for
next,
it,
Rob.
James.
Yeah, so like Dan said, I'm on his team, the PR team, mostly supporting, I guess a little bit of a hybrid, America's corporate and just helping out theaters. So I'll be one of the main users of the platform, helping pull together both recaps. Right now we do a twice weekly just of news that F5 and competitors have put out, and then also helping take a larger share of what will be the quarterly wrap-up report that we'll also be leveraging the platform for.
Rob Greening, I lead corporate communications at F5. And yeah, really looking forward to digging in with the team here and seeing what you have to offer. As Dan mentioned, we're and as I'm sure Richard and Paul have set up with you, we're in the midst of a pretty big evolution in how we want to use measurement and data to both inform our strategy and demonstrate impact here with executives. And so looking forward to it.
Cool. Hi,
Great.
everyone. I'm Neil. I work in the comms team as well, reporting to Rob. Work very closely with Marcus, focusing on the EMEA region, but we often share insights and collaborate with other regions as well.
Thank you, Neil, and great to have you on the call. So thanks, F5 team. Michael, should we come to you, and if you could lead away on the CARMA team?
Yeah, I can actually jump in here, Mike,
Shall we?
and start sharing my screen. Yeah, we can kind of go through
Well, do you want to do your
intros.
introductions as well? Just explain who you guys all are.
Yeah,
Great.
absolutely. And to help illustrate that a little bit here, just so you guys can see everything before we dive in. Essentially, for today, to start with myself, my name's Chadwick, a business consultant leading our North American operation for CARMA. Previously, have worked in the industry for 5+ years now, at Meltwater before, so can definitely speak to any sort of differences, nuances there, as well as previously to that, working as a press assistant on Capitol Hill. So I've always been involved in the media press space. And excited to walk you guys through our capabilities and how we can support you guys today. So yeah, Mike, on to you.
Thank you, Chadwick. And my name is Mike Simpson. I'm a senior business consultant here. As Richard might have alluded to, I am in our Lisbon office at the moment, mainly based out of London, but also in our Washington, DC office sometimes. I'm responsible for implementing, leading global monitoring programs, as well as measurement in terms of how to help our clients prove and improve the impact of their communications. And I'm going to be running through that as of the dashboard today. So without further ado, I'm going to hand over to our global head of product, Gareth Craven.
Thanks, Mike. Yes, nice to meet you all, guys. CARMA's global head of product. Been here for nearly 6 years now. Previously in senior product roles at both CARMA, I beg your pardon, at Cision and PR Newswire. So got a pretty rounded experience in the industry too.
Great. Well,
Awesome.
I want to make sure that we use the time efficiently. So I think the important thing to know, we've got a 1.5-hour meeting slot, so there'll be a hard stop at the end of that. But I think what probably makes sense, I don't know if you prepared a deck. You want to talk a bit to the company for the F5 team's benefit, and then I think get stuck into demonstrating their specific use cases that were called out in the RFP, and demonstrate them and let the F5 team understand and interrogate and really get a feel for how your solution would work with their use cases. So it's really for you guys in the F5 team to learn all about each other. So I'll go on mute and over to you all.
Absolutely. Thank you for that context, Richard. And yeah, to kind of frame the call today, just have a few quick slides to give you guys some intro to CARMA, the requirements for the RFP, and then we'll jump into the demo and walk through the training support as well as commercials. So from a high level, just to give you kind of a quick synopsis on, okay, who CARMA is, where do we lie in the industry. We're the global leaders in media intelligence. We're the longest running players in the space. So we have that experience working with a lot of complex global organizations, really, to Mike's point earlier, monitoring what matters and measuring what's meaningful when it comes to obviously what's important for the F5 team and the different objectives and requirements that have been shared for this. So leaning into our technology, which is our platform that you guys will see today, along with that expertise from a human standpoint, to make sure that, again, the insights and data that you're getting is actually impactful and on track for what would be most helpful for the organization. Just to, again, frame the conversation a bit more and give you guys more background into CARMA, we're working with a lot of global players within the tech space, within other sectors as well. A few names to call out, thinking of ones like Samsung, GE, SAS. So again, leaning into that experience when it comes to different organizations that, we've really kind of started at the ground level with and really grew to be, managing the operations in all different markets across the globe. So yeah, trusted by 3,500 plus clients in over 50 countries. And then lastly, to kind of really frame the conversation today, based on the RFP that has been shared, we understand that you guys are really looking for that platform-driven solution. So we're really going to focus on ways that the team can leverage that and to really make it efficient and easy for each user to be set up to their own liking, but more importantly, alleviating and streamlining any sort of manual workflows. So through a lot of features that we have when it comes to AI and automation, you guys will see that, again, when it comes to things like weekly news recaps, ad hoc dashboards, quarterly measurement reports, we'll give you the tools at your disposal to really make it easy to set those up and adjust as you see fit. And then, really more importantly, when it comes to the data and insights that are coming from the dashboards and emails and weekly news recaps, actually providing insight and analysis to provide takeaways and, okay, what's working, what's not working. We also understand that you guys are a very global company. Obviously, offices located in the US via Seattle and, throughout the globe, like Singapore and Japan as examples. And we have that global support as well. So the ability to meet you where you are, whether that's in person on the ground or live virtual trainings, we really cover the full spectrum, and we're excited to really kind of dig into all those areas today.
Great. Thanks, Chadwick. So obviously AI is something that's shaping lots of different industries at the moment. So I thought I'd just take a few moments to explain where CARMA is in our AI journey. So first of all, our approach to AI, we say hi to AI. So it's not just a slogan, it's our philosophy. What it means combining human intelligence with artificial intelligence to deliver insight that's faster, smarter, and more meaningful. The AI will give us speed, scale, and pattern recognition, but people will bring understanding, interpretation, and empathy. And it's that balance where the real intelligence happens. AI sees the data, humans see the story. It's a hybrid approach that gives us a great advantage at CARMA. Our strength is in how we blend people and technology. AI accelerates the process, but humans enhance the outcome is a kind of really important distinction. It means that we can scale faster while keeping depth and accuracy. And it also means that we can use AI to amplify human expertise, not replace it. So human oversight is vitally important in the process, and everything that we do, we ensure that we shape the AI to ensure that we don't have any kind of hallucinations, etc. Every piece of media insight shapes perception, so ensuring that accuracy is at the absolute paramount. AI can surface what is being said, but our analysts ensure that we understand why it's being said. So that human layer gives us context, it gives us nuance, and it gives us trust. AI delivers information, and then human intelligence delivers the understanding. Our mission is to enhance the insight is through intelligent automation. And the value we hope for clients is that we can gain speed, we can gain accuracy, and hopefully confidence in knowing that AI is driven through insight and it's refined by human quality control. And that's what I feel makes CARMA's intelligence solutions trusted in that regard. So it's not just being generated, but our goal is to automate. It isn't just to automate insight, it's to elevate it and produce higher level of understanding and elevate our service to our clients. If you could skip to the next slide, please, Chadwick. So I've spoken a lot about finding the right balance between AI automation and human oversight, but at the absolute heart of it is data, because without data, none of the features will matter. And I've said this time and time again, is that there's no point in building these great features if we don't have all this great data to power it. So I just want to take a few moments to explain how we're using AI to make the data even smarter and hopefully more valuable. Through qualifying and structuring data, CARMA uses AI and large language models, LLMs, to structure media content by identifying entities, for example, people, products, places, organizations, etc., and helping us understand abstract ideas such as tone and themes. We can also add nuance. So, for example, brand specific dimensions. An example of that would be Jaguar the animal versus Jaguar the car brand, or even the mediocre NFL franchise. Some of the key benefits would be precision and relevance, so filtering out that irrelevant noise, allowing users to focus only on pertinent insights. We always like to bring a custom fit, which I believe is vitally important. So that enables brand specific tagging, so to make sure that we understand correct brand ambassadors or products, and ensuring that the analysis is aligned with each client's unique framework, which is obviously especially important through a media analysis service. We like to bring actionable insights, so enhanced data clarity leads to more confident and timely strategic decisions, and also helps us interpret data. So here would be transforming unstructured media content into comprehensible insights by analyzing sentiment, tone, themes, emotional resonance, and more. Some of the benefits to you as users would be scale with depth, offering a human equivalent understanding of millions of media mentions impossible to achieve manually. That rich contextualization, so moving beyond superficial metrics like counts or reach, and allowing you to explore deeper content signals such as mood, topic sentiment, and emotional triggers. It helps inform decision making, helps users grasp not just what's being said, but how and then why it resonates. And finally, on this slide is data completion. Sorry, I'm just back one. Thanks, Chadwick. Data completion is absolutely everything. So core function here would be filling in missing information is a great example. In social media, making sure that we capture that correct demographic data, especially important if it's regional based campaigns. Another example would be in our broadcast speech to text capabilities, where AI tools can actually improve accuracy by correcting the speaker's mistakes. For example, a stutter. In that particular example, we've actually seen several cases where the AI has actually even been better than the actual original spoken segment from the broadcaster. Benefits here are enhanced accuracy, so that improves the completeness of media data sets, especially critical for campaign tracking or regional specific insights. Better localization, so add in that location metadata when absent, which again is crucial for geo-targeted campaigns or performance evaluation, and leading to trustworthy results, so ensuring more robust data integrity for reporting, strategy formulation, or competitive analysis. So summary here would be that our solution delivers a seamless end-to-end media intelligence pipeline by enhancing the value of our media analysis data. If you could just skip on.
Can I throw in a quick question?
Go for it.
So, and this may be answered later on, or something that we can, table for discussion later in the call. But one of the things that we're really looking at when we're looking at, so how do we look at all of the data that's in the marketplace and in our marketplace, and not only in our results and how we're measuring things, but what our competitors are doing and what reporters are doing. What do you have customers that are doing anything interesting, or do you have tools that are purpose built for us to be able to go in and start to gather insights in terms of things that can inform our strategy? So are there reporters that are writing about things that are important to us that where we're not in? Are there, what's the hit rate for us versus maybe certain competitors in certain publications? Is there a way to examine, XYZ reporter and who they're quoting, the types of things they're talking about, the number of times they talk about a customer or something in a story to maybe get better insights into how to get their attention. So being able to use that data in an informed way to inform strategy and really get more targeted in how we're doing. So that it's one in addition to the blocking and tackling that in terms of the newsletters, which are important, and the quarterly reports are important. But I think that the real differentiator for us is going to be ability to do those types of things. So whether you have an answer now or there are things that we're talking about, I'd love for you to point out what that looks like, because it's something that's really top of mind, especially for Rob and myself.
Absolutely. I'm going to touch on something on the next slide, but I'll start an answer now if that's okay. So trying to help you understand, who is saying what and how that is resonating versus competitors, or where there's a space for opportunity, is absolutely everything. So one of the things we've been working a lot recently is an AI assistant. It's almost ready to launch, and it's where you can start to ask those more kind of pertinent questions, like who is saying what about this particular brand, how does that compare against a competitor? And the assistant will help us go into the data and start to understand more about what those actual things are. One of the other things we're working on that again very soon to go live is topic clustering. So how you can resonate different entities around one another. So for example, if a particular journalist is saying something around a particular brand or competitor, you'll be able to dig into that and start to understand more around different topics they're saying, or how they're talking about you versus your competitors, and how that tone may be different. So that's kind of a quick answer. And as I hopefully go through some of the next slides, I'll happily jump into that in a bit more detail for sure.
Awesome. Thank you.
No problem. Okay, so in terms of what's already live, AI-powered sentiment, so ensuring that we, kind of ties into this already. So more accurate and consistent tone detection, and something that can actually be tailored to your particular brand or your particular needs. And I'm kind of harping back to the human part here, is that our prompt engineers internally will kind of take your brief or what you need to do and make sure that that is kind of being unearthed in the content itself in the initial setup. So the benefits here would be more reliable reputation tracking or reduced bias, and ensuring that sentiment reflects real client context. In our analysis content coding, I've already mentioned about being able to do more at scale and that human quality part of it, but ensuring that the messages, entities are being properly captured. So again, that speaks to your question there, is making sure that we can unearth that data and then properly tie it together about the sorts of things that you're looking for. So making sure that entities are kind of correctly tagged, and that a content coding is going to hopefully help in terms of faster turnaround, greater consistency, and again, as you say, hopefully lead to more deeper, more meaningful insights. And it's that hybrid AI and human approach model, making sure that it's accurate and we're talking about things in the right context based on particular brands or products. In terms of content relevancy and scoring, again, I think this is an area that will help you massively, is allowing you to tailor things to your particular brief. And this could be based on particular prominence or keyword frequencies. So rather than just one mention for brand X versus 5 mentions for brand Y, we'll be able to set this up for you to, again, allow you to more easily sort through any of that content. And what this means is you can look at the content that is only relevant for you, or that truly matters. So it allows you to more quickly identify those high impact stories versus those low ones. And again, that'll hopefully feed into that theme as well for you. Again, kind of helping you save time, and rather than filtering through large content, you'll be able to go through and see what is the most relevant for you. In terms of our CARMA broadcast offering, I already mentioned it already, but we've kind of layered in the AI to improve our speech to text. Again, feeds into that accuracy, cleans up those transcripts, and provides more accurate data for analysis. Smart summaries. So again, it allows you to look at a specific entity in seconds of an article. So you get to select what that entity is based on the entities that are listed in that article. And then what that can do is it will either auto-translate into a different language if it's not in English, for example, or it will just give you instant context within a short paragraph rather than a large article, not just keywords. So saving hours of manual reading or better understanding. So, you know, that blocking and tackling that you talk about, you'll be able to go through those processes a hell of a lot faster, and then giving you more context to understand what this means versus another particular brand. So, you know, you could choose F5 versus another brand, and then it could construct the summary in that regard, giving you the context, how it impacts for both. On our dashboards itself, we have currently live now. This is kind of a what's live now versus what's going to be live soon, and I'll provide that distinction shortly. But the analysis on the dashboards helps you look at data patterns. So kind of, you know, what's going on, whereas the new version will help you understand why it's happening. So kind of what's going on behind the scenes there. So immediate understanding of performance drivers versus, and also kind of saving time for analyzing that data as well. Finally, on this slide is something we recently launched, and it's kind of the basis of our new reporting tools, and it'll be basically getting the data out of the system into a more shareable format. Primarily, we started with PowerPoint, and the process will be that you can unearth, you know, kind of presentation ready slides straight from your dashboard data, and it will include AI written commentary against each of those different slides, those data points that can be fully editable if you want to change that as well. So using your own branding too. So the benefits here will be instant presentation ready reports, ready present storylines in seconds, and again, hopefully saving time in kind of some of those more formulaic tasks. If you just jump onto the next to final slide for my segment, thanks, Chadwick. So what's coming soon? So this was what I mentioned in my initial answer was moving more towards conversation mapping. So allowing you to understand more around kind of what is the bigger picture, how discussion of particular brands, products, spokespeople, any entities really, how they're being discussed around one another in proximity of one another. And that's kind of more of that research model where you can go in and sort of discover what's going on. And it's just a perpetual loop that you'll be able to kind of dig down into that data and understand more around identifying which issues or spokespeople driving conversations, or how also hopefully allowing you to quickly spot shifts in sentiment or around particular topics or clusters in different scenarios. The AI assistant is, the best way I can describe it is kind of like ChatGPT, but for our data set. So within your project, you'll be able to understand it, kind of natural language questions around, you know, provide me an instant summary or report, surfacing this insight for me. So show me the top themes from this month's coverage in the United States, or what factors are driving this coverage, or instantly generate me a summary slide based on this particular data set. So kind of those are sort of two, I thought, more pertinent issues, more focused around AI, that are going to be landing very, very soon within the next 4 weeks, really.
Oh, wow. So both of those are in the next 4 weeks?
Yeah, coming very soon.
That's exciting. Awesome.
Yeah, it's been a long time coming, and super pumped to be able to kind of get it out there. So I'm just going to pass over to Mike now, who's going to give a demo of the platform. But if there's any other questions, I'll be more than happy to answer them once we get to them.
Thanks, Gareth. That was perfect. And in my part, while I'm showing the dashboards and the platform, I will be covering the AI features and benefits, particularly framed towards your workflow that I saw as your main requirements within the brief. But Dan, yeah, really appreciated that question earlier. So what I'm going to do during the dashboard and platform environment as well is cover not only how we support our clients measure their PR in terms of proving communications impact, but also helping them improve their communications impact as well with informative media insights that might be within F5's media footprint or landscape, but also those beyond. And that might be anything from emerging topic identification to journalists and authors and what conversations are being driven around cybersecurity within topics, key topics, and issues that are going on within your sphere, basically. So without further ado, I'm going to crack on with the demo. And please, I want to make this as an engaging and interactive session as possible. So if you want to ask any questions as I go along, please do. But I'm going to cover three main things in this, additional to what I just mentioned, which is how our tool will alleviate manual workflow with identifying need-to-know news imminently through powerful filters. I'm then going to go into ad hoc dashboards, reports, and analysis, quarterly dashboards as well, and how we can support you with those. And then thirdly, into how our dashboard will, James, you mentioned that you work on the twice weekly recaps or any weekly recaps in terms of coverage digests, how the tool also alleviate that manual workflow process as well for you through AI and automation features in terms of quick coverage digests of what's dominated the media landscape that week, just so you can share it around and disseminate that earned coverage or organic coverage around the organization quickly. So without further ado, this is our CARMA Insight platform. It's very simple. From the left-hand side, you've got the different areas of the platform. And then in the middle, at the top, you've got the powerful customized filters, which are tailored on a per individual client basis. And these are very powerful and very customized. We don't just give a blanket platform where we're dishing content from all over the globe in all different languages and leaving you to sort through it. But we create powerful filters to get you to the need to know news imminently. And I'm going to show you how we do that quickly now. So you've got these powerful filters that you can stack. But on the right hand side, I've created some save searches. So for example, if I wanted to come in and search for F5 in all US media across the whole US media landscape, from one click of a button, I can do so. If I wanted to go into US top tier media, for example, one click of a button, I apply that. And now it's filtering out only the publications that are tailored to your specific, what you consider at F5 as your tier one target media. And then also, for example, when the Michael Montoya news came up a few weeks ago, if I was just to open up the date range there, now it's pulling through all mentions for that specific stakeholder. This can be done for anything across key messaging, topics, any of your competitors. So for example, if I went into here and looked at the tags filter, I've got all your competitors listed out, Citrix, Cloudflare, any peers as well in terms of Fortinet, F5, of course, the organization search, any key people, and this can be both within your organization and beyond. And then from there, any sort of messaging that you're working on, such as the application delivery controller and other areas of the business that you want us to add in as a filter to filter down to earned or organic content within those tags. Before I jump on, I just want to show that I know you guys want to do a lot of the work yourself within the dashboard quickly. So you're able to easily control that from the client end user, from the front end user. And what I'm showing here in the settings is the transparency that we give with your searches and all the tag filters that we've got set up. And you are able to add a new tag or search if needed in the dashboard to pull in then content at any time moving forward. So for example, here, as you can see, using the blue button at the top, I'll be able to add in any of my queries that will then automatically in real time moving forward, tag any of the content for you so that you don't have to. It's all done for you there. Is there any questions? I'm just going to pause there quickly in terms of the filters and the searches before I move on to how our system will support you with the analysis dashboards and the weekly news recap emails.
I guess the biggest one is just it's probably something you run into with a lot of your clients, right? So we get a lot of noise when it comes to like stock coverage that doesn't really matter to us, or we get noise. F5 is named after a tornado, so
Yeah.
tornado season comes. So just in terms of as we're kind of fine tuning the types of things that we're looking for. Just how do you gauge the ease of use on that? How do you gauge the if you add a bunch of filters, does it tend to my experience in the past has been if you add a bunch of filters, certain services tend to just leave out stuff that's actually important and relevant and matters. So can you train it to keep this, leave this out, keep this, leave this out kind of thing?
I can grab that one. Yeah. So again, it's on the theme of something that we've implemented in terms of our AI capabilities. So sort of internally, we would call it AI filtration. And through using relevant prompts, we can help train it for specific context and nuance. So you gave the example there of stock price information isn't as pertinent for you. So that'd be something that we could easily train during your project setup to avoid that type of content. If you still wanted it to come through, we could still kind of mark it as irrelevant or whatever when it comes through. So you might still have access to it, but ultimately we'd filter that out at source so you wouldn't get that type of information feeding through into your particular project. So that's kind of taken care of before the tagging even takes place anyway. So it's kind of one of the benefits of our kind of AI belly that we've got in place to capture these things, and we can train it. We can absolutely customize it. We can improve it and tweak it and adopt it as we go as well.
Michael, you mentioned the filters are set up on a per client view. Is that for F5 and all of the users at F5, or is that an individual? Like if I go in and have different filters, is that what James is going to see when he logs in?
Yeah, that's a brilliant question. So we've got different levels of that. So we've got user level and project level. So what we can do is you can have it so it's set up that if you want to see certain reports and filters that each other wants to see, then absolutely, report templates, analysis dashboards, you can both see that. There's also levels of privacy access as well. But also in terms of user level, you can have it where at an individual level that it's tailored so that there might be a report that you've built or filters that you want that that someone else in the business might have it built in a different way. So we can do it in both ways. It's tailored to how each of your users need it, if so, essentially. Does that help answer your question, Rob?
Yeah, it does. It does. On the tags, so if does that apply to tags? So if I create a new tag around, I don't know, something, a new executive, for example, will that then show up for all of the users, or can I create custom tags just for me?
It will. So the tags will be there for all users and the searches. But there's other things, different features in the dashboard, which are also done at user level. So, for example, report templates or dashboards, for example. So, yeah, no, but very good question. Is there anything else, Gareth, that seems like... Rob, sorry.
Sorry, just wanted to a little bit more on the tags. Can you go back there real quick and just show?
Yeah, absolutely.
How, like, add a new tag. Got it. So you basically are creating a new search with each tag, and
yeah, exactly. And there's query patterns in terms of not case insensitive and case sensitive, and you're able to come in and just say here I would add that tag. I'm not going to because Michael Montoya is already in the search. But essentially, this will now, in real time, moving forward, tag your content automatically for you and categorize it into. And this can be done for new messages, for example, or new campaigns and announcements that you're about to work on, so on and so forth. But there's something really interesting that I'm going to show later as part of the analysis and insight dashboards, which is what we've just launched is dynamic coding. Now, this is a very interesting, accurate way that our clients are very benefiting from. Anything that's not within your brief at that time, the coding, the AI will learn and identify any emerging new topics, issues, journalists, you name it. It will then start adding to them the system so you don't have to. But then there is also the ability for you to come in at the front end user and add things yourself too. We have a hybrid approach. We manage it, but you guys can also add stuff when need be, essentially.
Yeah, got it.
Does that help?
Yeah, I was gonna say, I think like some of that, not everybody is a expert at building queries, right? And so I do think that it would be beneficial, probably. That's probably very useful for something quick. Less useful, like if we're doing a new message, where we're going to need some help building a really robust query, right?
I couldn't agree more. And I'm so glad you say that. And that's why Gareth's team has built that in so that it's in a way where the account management team will be there on hand whenever you need be, when the searches are quite nuanced. So for example, key messaging that might be not directly mentioned in the article, but inferred in the article, then you still want that article to be captured by that key message tag, right? So the team will be absolutely on hand. When you think it's a bit nuanced, you can go to them, they'll add it. We've got an SLA time of 2 hours. They'll be back to you. It will be sorted. And then starting to aggregate that content, tagging it automatically in real time from there. But if it's anything simpler, that's a spokesperson, for example, and Michael Montoya, I'm not sure if he has any variations of his name. I haven't seen any so far. If it's a bit more simpler than that, then you have the ability to add that straight into the dashboard moving forward. If you've got any new joiners or new initiatives or any topics that aren't so nuanced. It's a great question. Is there anything else on the searches, the tag adding, or the filters
just a quick
before
one.
we move on, please? Yes, Neil.
Yeah, just a quick one. You mentioned obviously that this is English language. How does it work if you were to zoom in on a specific additional language? Is that pretty seamless? Is there any limitations there, or is that coming?
I'm so glad you asked that question because it was going to be the next search. Where, as you can see, I've prepared with a topics and competitor search for Korean and Japanese content.
Oh, nice.
So I'm not too sure how everyone's Japanese and Korean is here, but mine is pretty poor. So this also links to what Gareth was mentioning earlier in his part of the presentation. Now, for example, if I wanted to go into this piece of content here, like so, we've got AI tools throughout the platform to help you digest this content, right? So this is the generate smart summary here, like so. And I can come in and actually choose an entity. So this one is an F5. It's more of a wider topic article that we've captured within the brief. And I can just make it focus on a specific entity or a bunch of entities, generate smart summary, and within 2 clicks of a button, I've easily got it where I've got that coverage now translated into English for me, so I can understand quickly what's been talked about. Or from the get-go, there's the option where we've also got a Google Translate integration, where if you don't want to use AI, this one was embedded, I think, 3 years ago, into many years ago. So as you can see, I've now got that integrated platform from a Google Translate point of view. But I would recommend using the AI. It's very accurate and it summarizes the content really nicely, and no matter what language it is in. We can also change the prompts as well if you like them in a particular way in the back end. So that's really helpful. Some of our clients really like that. Neil, does that help with your question before I move on?
Yeah, great, thanks.
No problem. Cool. So, without further ado, I'm going to go on to the second part, which is the weekly news recap emails. So I might have a few questions for you here, James. As you mentioned that you work on these, is there anything particular that you'd like to improve on from your current workflow process when building these for the business and sharing them around the organization, James?
I'd say what's important for us is just being able to customize the output in terms of we often have times where we're putting together a report where there's been one story and there's a lot of similar articles. So what we want is more of a curated or representational view that we provide to employees, not necessarily a laundry list of every single thing. So I need to make sure that I'm seeing everything, but also before I put something in front of our, the folks here, including executives, I have to be able to play with it a little bit. So I don't know how much of that happens in system and how much of that happens after like an export, but that's kind of the use case that I'd be solving for.
Perfect. I hope you're going to like this tool then. Completely appreciate AI and automation to alleviate the process as much as possible, but with the ability to also tweak things in the right language, for example, or grouping stuff together or rewriting summaries. So I'm going to show you how that works. On the left-hand side, we've got a bunch of reporting tools. My recommendation for this particular use case, James, would be our executive reports tool. Now, this is a powerful tool because it's even used by our editorialist team who use the same tool when they need to build daily or weekly news digests on behalf of our clients. But we also give it to our clients for them to use on a front end user basis for this exact use case that you've just mentioned. So what I'm going to go into here is the executive reports tool. And I've put together a weekly news recap before this tool, before this call. And what you can see here at the top is it's a very simple 5-step process to help you guide through how to build this. And it's very, very customizable with the potential as well. So you choose your sections that you want within the report. You then select the articles with the same filters that I shared earlier. So, for example, if you're doing a report on Michael Montoya or a particular when he joined, or a particular cybersecurity topic, or an initiative or announcement that you're working on, you can use the filters to hone in on the content that you need as part of the report. Then from there, you can add it to a particular section. That will now pull through to the end. And essentially, you can then add charts. You can edit it however you want in terms of each individual section. I, for example, have even brought in KPIs here. You can even drag in charts, for example. I'm not going to for the case of time sensitivity, but this is what an end result would look like. So, for example, at the top, this is a AI summary to give an overview of what happened in that particular week with Michael Montoya's when joining the business and how that benefits the business and how that landed within the media and what was mostly talked about. It then goes into the KPIs in terms of the articles, the reach statistic, the impression statistics and articles that were generated off the back of his announcement. And then what it goes into further is the individual articles that are responsible for those stats as well. So all the consolidated coverage in a nice report underneath. And what you can see here is you can list out the individual ones, or we have an also impaired in feature which groups content if it's a match by headline, but you also have the ability to manually group articles together within these article blocks as well. I can then go in and edit each individual one by, if I want to say, for example, word the summary a little bit differently, I can use AI to do so. So right now, if I wanted to generate a smart summary, pick a particular entity again, generate the smart summary, I can absolutely do so really quickly. And then I can plug that into the report, or I can edit it however I want within the text box and so on and so forth. it's endless, and we will give you full training in there's no limit to the level of curation that you would like to do with each report. We'll show you how we'll give recommendations of what things to do that fits your use case. But you can literally change anything from summaries to the text color to the branding to the format, you name it. We'll tailor it to what best fits your particular end use case. And then from there, once you're happy with each of your report, you can build many templates for different announcements, initiatives, weeks. Sometimes I know you mentioned earlier, James, that you need to build competitor ones, for example, so we can tailor those accordingly. And then from there, once you're happy, you can say, hey, I want to put in F5, Michael Montoya, send this round the organization to a particular individual recipients, or add in a particular mailing list, which we can do for you, or download it. And this is what it looks like on the other end. I'm just going to bring it up from my other screen like so. So there's many formats basically that you can share it around either via email or pull it off as a PDF. So nicely visual there like so. And then everything's interactive. All the links you can click through to the original article. So if I wanted to go into the Union Democrat, for example, it will take me through to the original piece. Any of the recipients as well can interact with it in that way. So I'm just going to go back to the dashboard. Is there any questions on any of that before we? Sorry, Gareth, please.
Yeah, just to add something else. James, if you find yourself kind of in a very formulaic process, which I know some of these exercises can be, it's the same type of tag or filtration that you're going through to build that report. There's also the option for us to build an AI prompt on your behalf. So when you kind of start that process of building that report on a daily or weekly basis, you can select from a preset list of AI prompts based on whatever type of report it may be. And then that kind of article filtration piece is already taken care of for you. And then it will do kind of like a bulk piece of work on writing the AI summaries on each individual article, if that's something that you want to do as well. So there's kind of time flow efficiency tools built in, plus the ability to double check this and do it manually should you so wish. Yeah, hopefully that makes sense.
It does, and I definitely can see something like that being useful. I gotta be careful because I could do 90 minutes on just this, but I want to make sure I heard you correctly. When you export it, you're just exporting as PDF. Like it's not something that if I'm customizing it, I need to customize it in the tool itself before the export. Then.
Correct. But you can also share it via email as well, so via that mailing list. But if it's for the PDF format, you would have to edit it within the in-platform tool. Correct.
Okay. And then from the user's perspective, or the audience perspective, the people that this gets sent out to, if they are clicking on something that is behind a paywall or a broadcast, or what is their experience like?
Great question. So they would have to have so it would take them through to the original paywall, of course, accessing any free to access news on that website, any content. But then if it asked for the subscription, they would have to have a license, a login for that, because those rights remain with the individual publication themselves. But what we've absolutely accounted for is we've done a key media paywall list check on the paywalls that Richard and on the media list that Richard and Paul kindly shared, and we've accounted for tracking all of the paywalls that were included in that media list. But in terms of their end experience, any client would need a subscription on your end to view any content behind the paywall, because those rights remain with each individual publication, for example. Okay. But we would absolutely capture it for you, basically.
If I may, as a fallback option here, James, the content is also all stored in Insight itself, the platform. So The user has the option of either going direct to the source URL, or in the case of broadcast content, for example, you would go to what we would call a public version page of Insight, so they wouldn't have to have user credentials, so they could capture, visualize the broadcast clip on that version. And the way in which our paywall monitoring works as well is that we actually capture a lot of the text, so they can actually go to Insight itself and get more context there if they don't have the login credentials for the specific paywall. So it's kind of like, if they have the credentials, great, they'll be able to access it straight from the report. If they don't, we capture that content and it's available on a version of Insight. So it's kind of pretty seamless in both directions.
Can the platform user, like someone like myself, how much can we see within the tool?
Yeah. So you would have a different version of what they would see. So you would have full version of everything on the platform because you would have login credentials, whereas they would have more of a limited view in terms of some of the metadata around it, and they would also have much more limited actions and things they can do, whereas you'd be able to do anything with it.
Okay. And then just one more quick one. If I'm looking at a report like this and I export it to email, how easy or difficult is it to edit it within like Outlook or something like that?
We've built it so when you send it, it's in straight HTML. So
Okay.
if you have the capabilities to edit HTML, you'll be able to do that, no problem. The way in which we built it, though, is to be as stable as possible in different versions of Outlook or on different devices. So it's kind of all in different components. So you've got a text component, you've got an article component. And we've done that so it keeps the formatting and the HTML as clean as possible. But if you have the ability to look at HTML behind an email, you'll be able to make those edits, no problem.
Okay. If I want to keep going, if we have time at the end, maybe I'd like to see that functionality demoed. If you could, that'd be great.
Yeah, sure. Thank you, James. So what I've gone through is the filters and the articles page where all the content comes through in real time with the searches and the tags. I've just covered the tool that's going to support with your weekly news recaps, and any other coverage digest reports ad hoc that you want to do. Before I move into the third stage, which is the ad hoc dashboards and quarterly reports from the analysis dashboards, is there any sort of other ways of reporting or sharing content that you need to do around the organization? It might be real-time alerts in terms of if a spokesperson or stakeholder is negatively mentioned in the media, in tier 1 media in the US, you need to know about it straight away to react on it. It might be, is there any other way? It might be sharing content via exports of Excel metadata, for example. Is there any other things that you need to do from a reporting standpoint that I need to cover before I go on to the analysis side of things and the insights?
We do have a need for, and I imagine this could be kind of a combination solution, but we do have a need for like quick end of day snapshots. If it's something like an earnings report or, security incident, anything like that, where it's just, I really only need a quick list of articles and a summary that I can put in front of execs for something that's like either quickly evolving or just happened and we need to put it in front of someone that doesn't have to be, it doesn't fall within maybe the formality of the procedure of the regular recaps.
And would that be similar to what this looks like on screen right now, but just a shorter, quick summary for the end of day, for example?
Yeah, more basic, like bulleted list of articles and summary and super basic.
Okay, fab. So then we would build a particular template for that use case within this same executive reports tool that is specific for that use case. So then this tool here would also cover that particular need too. Not a problem. This tool can absolutely do that. The last thing is, before I jump on to the third section, third part, is a lot of our clients also benefit from the alerts function in terms of if you needed to know amongst all the media that's going on, thousands of articles, so on and so forth, where it's a specific topic or spokesperson or anything in terms of maybe issues that are emerging or crisis comms, we've got a real-time alerts solution for that. So here, if I wanted to come in and know or keep abreast of anything that was around your CEO, for example, and then you can set the criteria and triggers accordingly, because what we don't want to do is alert you every single time that something is mentioned in the media that might be a bit too much in your inbox. So here I might want to know when Francois is mentioned in tier 1 in a specific outlet group, in a particular language, in a particular location, and then negative sentiment only, for example, because I need to know about it instantly. And then that will only then trigger an alert to your inbox if those criteria are met. And that's done from a real-time alert basis. But what we also do in clients really benefit from is our volume spike thresholds and audience thresholds. Now, this might not necessarily be for crisis or issue alerts, but it also can be for, say, for example, if you put an announcement out and you want to know when there's been a spike or an audience threshold increase, and that it's hit the media and it's raised results of impressions or circulation or results of your number of articles that you're generating as a result by X amount. And then it will give you an alert, so on and so forth from there. So that's everything from a reporting tools standpoint.
Just a very quick one, a similar question to the last one.
Yes, Neil.
James obviously mentioned like putting out the sort of global point of view, but in EMEA we also send weekly reports. It's all manual at the moment. So if I wanted to share this week's coverage in France to the sales guys there, can I do the same thing that you've shown there with just French coverage?
Yeah, absolutely. That's a great question. So let me just go back into the weekly news recap to show this. So how you would do that within the template that you need for that particular use case, you would go into articles, and then you would go into filters. And here you can search by language or by country. For example, if I just type in outlet country here, like so, type in France, if I can spell properly today. And then only now the coverage that's from that country will pull through into the dashboard. Once you're happy with it, select, move it into, add it into the section that you want to move it into, and then you can finalize the end report and share it around the organization, including any summaries in English or French that you need. Not a problem. That will also be accounted for, Neil, within this tool. Thank you for that question, though. Yeah, really good question
cool.
there.
Thank you.
Michael?
Yes, Rob, please.
So you mentioned, like, James threw out a couple of scenarios where we might have an urgent need. Sometimes it's less, if we have an announcement coming up, we can create a report template around regular announcements. But sometimes we have things like security incidents or things that come up where we have an urgent need to create a report. How easy is it to create those report templates? And do we need your help to do that?
Easy. So on the right-hand side here, where you've got add executive report, the system will guide you through that process. So in the same way it guides you through making them, it will also guide you through what template you need. So here, for example, if I needed one for a particular issue or that was coming up, you can just select this template, create report, and then you can create sections, for example. So if I just wanted to just put test here, add section, and that now sections and formats out the template really easy for you. Then you go into the article section and add the content that you need into that report. Then the last fifth step would be editing it in terms of curating any summaries if you want to word them a little bit differently, or use AI tools to summarize the content in a better way in a particular language before you share it around the organization, particularly if it's sensitive topics or something like that.
Yeah.
I hope that helps, because it's really nice that you can do it on the front end user yourself, Rob. But I just want to be clear, a lot of our clients really do rely on the account management team, who, if you're just needing to work on something else, quickly send an email. We've got this happening today. Can you have this by X time? And they'll build the template for you. So there's both options there. The support from the account management and the front end user to be able to add in any new templates.
I think a useful thing to add here is, get a couple of templates set up ready to go.
Right.
And then, if something happens in terms of like when it's time sensitive, you can either just borrow those templates, or if you need to tailor them ever so slightly, you can just almost like a copy and paste and then kind of change the format and the structure. It's kind of a really quick and intuitive way of doing it.
Thanks,
And
Gareth.
Mike, to quickly add on to that, guys, and if you are in a super quick rush and you just want to grab the top 5 articles within the article tab, you can just grab them and email them to yourself. So even if you don't have enough time to create a report and it's not set, you could also just grab each individual article, so you could send that along to whoever's of interest on the other end.
Yeah, I'm glad you said that.
Yeah, that's an excellent point. And again, it helps with the templating as well. So if you're on the articles tab, you've already got a template ready to go, select the articles in question and then share, and it'll just borrow that template that you've already got and then share accordingly. So there's even quicker ways to bypass the whole tool that Mike had shown you before.
That's such a great point, Gareth and Chadwick. Thank you. Because if you just want to do it a bit more quickly, here in the articles page, I'll show you what they're referring to. I can select the articles once I'm happy with the filters, export or share, and then you can also pull in ready to go templates that Gareth mentioned to quickly share that around the organization rather than having to start from a new template. So there's many ways that it will really, I know sometimes you need to act quick, not a problem at all. That brings us on to the third, so the ad hoc and quarterly dashboards, so the analysis and insights. And Dan, I do want to touch upon some stuff that will help you with your question earlier in terms of informing your PR and communications efforts with strategic insights. So without further ado, what we did before is we put some dashboards together specifically for F5. I'm just going to take it off France there. And the dashboard environment, what you've got is on the left-hand side, your different dashboards where you can create a new one for specific use cases. So I've got a quarterly overview one, an F5 daily dashboard, which is broken down by region. So if I was to click into this one now, what you'll see is this is really nicely broken down. If you have a use case that you want to report on specific statistics and draw out insights from the US, you can do so. And then the UK, and so on and so forth. We can also build you tailored F5 quarterly overview dashboards with key KPIs, as well as other qualitative analysis metrics that I'm going to go into in a minute. But the main thing is that we've got out of the box dashboards, as well as we can also tailor more customized dashboards where you'll need things like qualitative messaging analysis, for example. So before I jump into that, here, if I was to go into Widget Studio, really easy for that front end user to be, again, guided through this process to make it quick and easy for you to build any dashboards that you need. So it's a 4-step simple process. So if I wanted to choose visualization for how I want to explore the data, I can then select the media types that I want involved in it. Then I can go on to the metrics. So for example, if I wanted to focus on impressions, and then go into country, let's say, for example, next, and then finalize, and then it gives you some options of how you want that data formatted and presented. So for example, here I can extend into different types of charting, or if I wanted to maybe even do a global heat map for impressions, I'm going to then save that widget, and that will then pull in at the bottom to the preset dashboard. And then from there, you can export individual dashboards and individual widgets, or you can export the dashboards as a whole, as to the point that Gareth mentioned earlier in our meeting. here, which we've recently, quite a while ago actually now, launched our export AI powered PowerPoint report tool. So the AI will then take it into a PowerPoint presentation nicely at your fingertips to export those charts and the data for you. This is more of the widget studio and out of the box with some preset analysis dashboards. But what I'm also going to go into, and what we've included and accounted for within your service for F5 is analysis for when things might get a little bit nuanced in terms of, we know that you want to look at and track journalists, key messaging, sentiment, prominence. So what I'm showing here, what we're looking at here, is a trial dashboard that has coding for these particular metrics to show you that we can cover those. So at the top, for example, we're looking at coverage over time. But if I scroll down here, we're looking at, in this particular widget, competitor analysis, but not just by volume, we're overlaying it with accurately coded sentiment analysis as well. And then even further, I can go into each data point and understand what articles and media coverage was responsible for that data. So here what I'm looking at is the positive sentiment articles for a particular competitor, to help you, to Dan's point that you asked around earlier, to give insight as to what was the coverage speaking about, what were the individual articles that were responsible for that rise in positive coverage because a competitor talked about X topic or and performed well during that month, if you wanted to know why. And the same reason for if you wanted to know why they might have performed badly. This can be done for anything. So the same for, if I go further down, this one that I'm looking at on the right is competitors, but compared by particular topics. So we'll sit down with you and make a starter analysis brief to understand what type of topics and issues and things that you want to, and conversation drivers that you want to identify and track within your industry. So here what you can see is that this particular competitor had a really good financial results performance within its media coverage for that particular time frame. There's also topics that we're tracking in here, such as conduct or partnership and investment or risk. Now, these all have AI coding prompts behind them, which we tailor accordingly for each individual client's analysis brief. And then it gets even more interesting than that with the what I mentioned with the dynamic coding feature. So the starting brief will be there, but then any other topics that are emerging, any other conversations that are emerging, issues that are emerging, will also start to be coded for and can appear in this dashboard, so that it will inform you what's coming up, what you might need to be aware of, and so on and so forth in there. You also had a few other metrics within the brief that Richard and Paul kindly shared, such as spokespeople and prominence, messaging. All of this will be accounted for within your dashboard. So at the bottom here, for performance measurement perspective, you might want to look at your top company F5 spokespeople and how they're mentioned within the media. But on the right-hand side, what we've done for this particular client is we're looking at external third-party spokespeople that you might want to track and see the types of coverage that they're also being mentioned in, to help inform and stay on top of those types of matters as well. So both from a measurement and an insights perspective, I'm just going to go into one last. So that's just an illustrative example of what a dashboard can look like. But here I'm focusing on the particular organization entity in this particular dashboard. At the top here, we start a little bit differently. So at the right-hand side, speaking to Gareth's presentation earlier where we use human insights and analysts to draw out actionable diagnostic insights rather than descriptive insights from your media landscape. In the top right hand side, your insights team that will be supporting you as part of your account management team can also position those ready for you to make some suggestions as maybe how key messages landed. Maybe you should be talking in and communicating in a particular media type or channel more often. We're also on hand to make some recommendations like so. Then we start a little bit differently here with particular KPIs at the top, number of articles, impressions, so the estimated number of people that have read an article from that outlet, as well as CEO mentions, because we've tailored the KPIs and the statistics and the insight to this particular client brief. And then from there, we will do the same with you guys in customizing what data sets, what metrics, what insights that you need as part of your dashboards. And then on the left-hand side, we will format it accordingly. So your quarterly measurement ones, your ad hoc dashboards, you can even build ad hoc dashboards yourself. Or, for example, if you're working on a particular campaign or announcement, a lot of our clients love to have deep dives on particular campaigns, announcements, initiatives, that kind of thing within the dashboard environment as well for measurement and insights purposes. So I don't want to make it the Mike show, but I hope it's been helpful to see in action. I'm going to stop sharing my screen now just so I can see everyone's faces and take any other questions that you may have from anything that I've just showed on the CARMA Insight dashboard there. I'll throw over to the F5 team. James, please.
Just two quick ones for me. Thank you. That was very helpful. I believe in each colored segment, you can click into it. From what you were showing us, are there any limitations of results that you will not be able to do that with?
What type of limitations, sorry, do you mean?
I just meant you clicked into a couple that had more of just like article lists, but with any kind of metric, is it easy to click into what we're seeing resulting in that and what's visually represented on the charter graph?
Yeah, absolutely. So you can interrogate and deep dive into the data. So all these charts are interactive. You can click on them, it doesn't matter what metric is, whether it's sentiment or key messaging, you can see the articles that are responsible for that. We give full transparency as to what's coded and what's behind each individual metric, each individual chart, and so on.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, there's the dashboards offer a distinction of what we call drill down versus drill through. So drill through would take you through to the articles in question, whereas drill down would take you kind of into the data more so. So it's kind of like almost like a filtration tool. So for example, if there was 50 articles that were negative, you could click on the segment that's negative, and then it would kind of reload the entire dashboard to reflect all of that data. So you can and it's kind of, again, it's a never-ending loop. You can keep drilling down and down until you kind of can go no further.
Interesting. Okay, thank you. And then when the AI assistant comes online, how close are you to being able to like build a dashboard through queries? Like natural language queries.
Yeah, so
that's great question.
That's definitely kind of one of the aspirations, and I'm unclear right now if we'll be able to launch it in the first instance, but it's definitely something that will follow very quickly. And the idea would be that you can virtually do anything in the platform through just the AI assistant. I mean, just to kind of give you sort of a look behind the curtain, it's so transformational how it will work and how we can build upon it. There's kind of a debate happening internally if we even need the rest of the platform, if we just have this one user interface where you kind of ask it to do everything. I don't think we're quite there yet, nor kind of is the industry, but it's just to kind of give you an idea of like how powerful the tool is. We're planning it to be in that sense.
Understood. Yeah, and obviously that would have training implications too.
Oh, of course.
Yes.
Yeah. I mean, the biggest challenge we've got right now is just making sure that AI doesn't provide false information, or doesn't hallucinate in a certain way, or send you down a different path. And that's kind of where we're spending a lot of time at the moment, is just making sure that we can kind of give it the right guide rails.
Got it. Thank you.
Yeah.
Cool. So thank you so much for the time that you guys have given F5 team for letting me take you through CARMA Insight. But without further ado, you mentioned training there, James. So it's going to be part of what Chadwick's going to be talking through in terms of ongoing account management support, and then we're going to go into the commercials to conclude. So Chadwick, please take it away. Thank you, guys.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you, Mike, for that in-depth walkthrough of the platform. And yeah, given time, I'll try to speed through this and give you guys a good overview on training as well as the commercial overview. So to start off, like we were talking about at the onset, global reach, local expertise. So given the F5 team is spread apart all around the globe, and given the CARMA team is spread across all around the globe as well, it gives us the ability to support you guys from a regional perspective. So obviously that being in the US, that being in Singapore as an example, where we have an office as well. Our ability to support, as an example, the Israeli team via our Dubai office. Whatever makes sense based on the team and users that will be accessing the platform, we'll be able to support. But then outside of the training and the support aspect, I just wanted to confirm our ability to support the content on a global level. So you'll see we have 130 multilingual content partners worldwide. So that allows us to really ensure that based on the media list that has been shared, and based on the cross-reference and checks we've already done, we're tracking 94% of that. So in terms of content, you're covered, but then also more importantly, in terms of that local support spread across throughout the globe, you're supported as well. To give you an idea and really kind of illustrate this in terms of how we do operate with every client, given it's custom to their specific use case, region, and needs, we really like to focus in on the 24/7 support model. So being able to, cover across every single time zone from every perspective from an account management level. So that's via our account directors. You'll see we have a few photos, illustrating that here. But not only account directors, insight analysts, client service executives. So really ensuring that for every user across the different regions of interest, they're all getting exactly what they need. That's based on their nuance and expertise, because obviously we understand, the US market's a lot different than the Asian market. It's a lot different than the LATAM market. So being able to support you guys on each level. Mike, you want to add something?
Yeah, from my experience, I just wanted to add into Chadwick's point with our global operations team and the way that we work here with this follow the sun approach, where each of the operational members will be responsible for the language translations in the Boolean code and AI prompts for different searches in Arabic in the Middle East, for example, or in Korean and Japanese from our office in Tokyo, and so on and so forth, to making sure that we're pulling through the most relevant coverage, no matter the country, no matter the language, and no matter the media type as well, because all the team members that you're seeing in that diagram in this one are experts in their regional landscape and the media footprint and landscape of their local countries and regions. So I just wanted to add on that because I think that's a very key point that is a differentiator.
Yeah, absolutely. And you'll see, on this slide, we've kind of brought this to life for the F5 team specifically. So, really even calling out the folks that would be a part of your account, right? So again, if there are users based in Singapore being supported by Diane Rosario, who has experience working with, other clients in the same sector space, the ability to support you guys from a content perspective. So not only having our AI coding to ensure that, all the content is being put in the right messaging buckets, but also, getting that quality control standpoint from a human. So having somebody who's dedicated to ensuring that all content is exactly accurate and aligning with, what the team is looking for. Because again, like you guys mentioned previously, getting rid of just stock news or, the items of interest that aren't as relevant, having AI as well as human oversight is going to be key. And then having that support in the Americas. So Liz Reed, she manages clients such as SAS. She's managed Visa before. So having experience working with a lot of global complex organizations, and then also being supported from an EMEA LATAM perspective via Vera Santos, as well as Nathan McHugh in London. So again, covering the full spectrum of regions of interest for the F5 team, and the ability to onboard and activate new users very, very seamless. To quickly just jump through these, translation and account support. So because you guys are global, because the translations are important, all that is covered from a cost perspective. The ability to train you guys via virtually. These are some animations showing, what that can look like. We have a lot of tutorials. We have a 24/7 live chat desk, but we also have those, in-person workshops we could schedule within those regions, as well as those in-person or, virtual trainings. So for each user in each region, getting the support that they need based on, what they'd be looking for. Because again, we understand not every region is going to need the same type of support. So whatever is best for F5, we can customize for them. And then really adhering to, the highest priority of standards and support and governance. So, Mike mentioned this earlier, 2-hour response times, open channel of communication, biweekly catch-ups, QBRs, the ability to support growth, the ability to follow the sun support model, no matter what time zone and region, as well as stakeholder support. So again, all of this is unlimited training, for all regions of interest as you guys get up to speed. And then just to time it all up and how this can come to life, we have that kickoff call to establish everything and make sure that we're aligned. Given we've already set up a lot of the content already, it gives us a leg up to really get you guys up and running quickly. But again, we really want to revise it and make sure it's as accurate as possible for your needs. So a lot of back and forth in terms of testing, revisions, making sure everything's up to speed so that we can go live, mid-December and align with your timeline as well so that everything is set to go. Again, I know we're coming up on time, so just to quickly jump through the commercial costs, we were actually able to get a discount approved ahead of this meeting to bring our cost under the 50 to 75K budget, now at 68,000 for the year. A couple key differentiators here to think about. Unlimited users. I know you guys shared that it's 10 users across your different regions, but again, the ability for us to support more there. We don't nickel and dime you based on users, so we want to really be, encourage more proactivity and more growth. This covers all global online media monitoring, including the key paywalls and outlets that were shared via the media list. It covers all, language translations of interest. From an analysis and dashboard standpoint, coding for F5 and competitors, like Mike mentioned, to align with your messaging and, more insightful qualitative themes, supporting quarterly ad hoc analysis dashboards, and then all the charts, graphs, and tools at your disposal via the platform in general. And then from an account management perspective, we've included global account management. So this is going to include that dedicated account director and client service representative across the regions of interest, which again, we can align on as you guys, move this process forward. And that's all 24/7 support, live chat, and training videos. And then we have another slide, which is optional add-ons. So I'll pause there, given time. Any initial questions, thoughts, as I know we're running up on it here?
Yeah, go ahead, Rob. You first.
I do have one question going back to the dashboards and sort of the data analysis there. What ability do we have to surface insights about, what's like drivers behind certain narratives or coverage spikes? And I ask, it's kind of grounded in the same question that Dan asked at the beginning, in terms of how we can best use the data to inform our strategy and our execution. Like I really like the way the data is presented in the dashboards, and I think it's great for reporting. What I'm not seeing as much is some of the this, particular announcement spiked here, or this particular narrative about F5 or our competitors or whatever spiked here. Here's kind of what's driving it, and here's how we should think differently. And I think Mike, you'd mentioned, hey, we've got some of our analysts can help us get to some of those points, but I'm kind of curious how much of that is human driven versus stuff we can surface in the platform.
Yeah, absolutely. I can take that one. So initially we have the GPT analysis widget, which I think you briefly showed it, Mike, but what it does is it kind of pulls out some of the key themes from the data. So it'll show you some of those kind of key stories, these key elements that help in drive it. But I think where the next layer for us is that AI assistant in terms of helping you inform yourself what to do next, basically. The data in the dashboards is telling you what's happened and giving you some insight into kind of what are the key drivers. So if there was a particular tag or theme or something that spiked, we'd be able to see that in the data, but you wouldn't necessarily now be able to see exactly what drove that. What were the specific drivers around it? Was there a particular undercurrent of a sentiment on social, or it stemmed from this journalist saying this thing, and then this whole wave happened from there. So that's kind of very much the second part of where we're working now in terms of using that AI assistant and the topic clustering to help kind of further inform more specifically what drove it down to it. And I completely understand that. I think one of the things we really want to do is kind of group by stories, and then we have these. I'm kind of getting ahead of myself because it's what's coming, it's what's not now. But we have these different agents that will plug into some different reporting tools, and then you'll be able to kind of generate that, and it will kind of give you a breakdown of how that is looking, what the key themes were, what were some of the drivers in terms of geographic or tone. So that's something that's definitely going to be coming next. So that's probably why you didn't see it now, but it's coming very soon. How we've typically handled that in the past is kind of how we've used the data to then have our analysts tease it out of the data and then kind of write those reports for the clients on their preferred cadence. But of course, we want to be able to empower people to run with this a lot quicker and not have to wait a few days or a week or something for someone to really deep dive the data. So yeah, it's kind of very much next phase for us, Rob.
Got it.
Yeah, to also add to that, as an example, working with our insight consultants, Rob, we could essentially, and this is what we're starting to do now for clients who want everything in the same place, just add text boxes by, the charts and graphs that are, showcasing different changes to allow them. So.
Got it. Thank you.
I have a question, please, for the CARMA team, which I'd like you to explain for F5. A lot of F5's content can be about them talking about security issues and security vulnerabilities. Sometimes, as we've seen recently, though, the story can be about F5 themselves. And I'd like you to explain to the guys how your system copes with tone and favorability and how it can cope with scenarios where F5 talking about security vulnerabilities is quite likely to be a positive thing, unless it's about them, in which case it obviously isn't.
Yeah, I can take this one if you want, Cara. So I'm so glad you brought that up, Richard. I should have shown in the dashboard earlier that we can analyze the content, so the coding, via a entity level or at an article level. So the overall article might be quite negative if it's a particularly sensitive topic or negative topic. But for example,
I think it's important, and I think we are at time, but I think that we've probably got a couple of extra minutes if you want to show what you're talking about.
Do you want me to demonstrate it?
I think it might make sense to do it quickly.
Yeah, I'll do it really quick. So in the dashboards that I was showing earlier, let's take, so Richard mentioned around tone and favorability. Let's take sentiment, for example. So if I was to click into here, into a negative article or into positive articles, what you'll see is we give full transparency where the coding can be built at an article level or also analyzing the content at an entity level. So if F5 was mentioned at the top, and then you wanted to analyze the specific mention around F5, that your response to a particular issue was positive, then it would analyze that content as being positive because it's mentioning F5. It's analyzing, so that it's looking at F5 specifically rather than looking at the article as a whole. So if I was just to click into this particular article here, let's just say this one, what you'll see is it breaks down the content and analyzes it at different entity levels. So this one has a negative headline mention and a negative financial results mention. This one here has a negative second half of the article, and Lana Clements is mentioned in a negative way in this particular article. So it will analyze and look at each different issue, topic, spokesperson, external third party person, and individually segregate those and analyze them accordingly, essentially. I hope that helps to answer your question, Richard. Sorry, someone was about to, Rob.
Yeah, I was just going to say, so in some cases with security, and this is what Richard's getting at, it can be F5 talking about threats or breaches, because a lot of what we do is share information with our customers about threats they need to be protected against. We have a whole threat research team that constantly is publishing coverage. Then, as what happened last month, there is a security issue that is ours. Does it have the ability to differentiate between those two things? Because it could be pretty difficult to tell the difference when it's F5 sharing something about another company's breach or things that our customers need to know versus things that are happening to us.
Absolutely. It just depends on how we will behind the scenes tailor your analysis brief and your prompts appropriately to make sure that it's differentiating the nuances between the two. No problem.
Thank you, mate.
Any other questions?
I think we're probably good. Would love to take a deeper look at the deck that you showed, of course. But really appreciate the time and effort that you've put into this. Lots of questions answered, and yeah, we'll get back to you if anything bubbles up. But yeah, thank you so much for the time.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you guys. We'll be sending a much, longer in-depth deck that you guys can all review.
Love it. Yeah, that would be really helpful. Yeah, and anything. Look, I know that Gareth. I know that you're still assembling the plane so to speak on the AI stuff. But anything that you can send that way, I think that the level and degree of automation and accuracy within the automation is going to weigh really heavily on our decision. And so whatever can be shared would be appreciated. But look, it's an impressive platform. It's an impressive tool, and looking forward to digging in a little bit deeper.
And you guys have gone to effort to create the demo platform. Are you able to share a login with the F5 team?
Yeah, we can provide access, no problem, to the whole team for the F5 dashboard that we've created. If you want to trial it and test it out for a few days, it's all well and good me talking about it and showing how good it is, but sometimes you just want to get a hands-on feel. That won't be a problem.
Great.
Okay. Thank you, CARMA team. Chadwick, Gareth, Michael, appreciate you all being here. F5 team, thank you as well for your time. Dan, I'm going to give you a quick bell on what's that called, if I may, just now after this meeting.
Yeah, sounds good.
Okay.
Awesome. Thanks, guys.
Bye, everybody. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Speaking to you.
Thank you.
Take care. Thank you. Bye bye.